The Ford Flathead V8, the engine that gave America its power. Some engines move cars. Others move history. In the early days of the automobile, power was a privilege reserved for the wealthy, the elite, and the untouchable. Speed had a price, and most people couldn't afford it. Then one engine changed everything. This is the story of the Ford Flathead V8. The engine that put power in the hands of the people, the engine that ignited hot rodding, and the engine that shaped American car culture forever. The year was 1932. The Great Depression gripped the nation. Factories were closing. Jobs were vanishing. Hope was scarce. Cars still existed, but performance cars? Those were for the rich. V8 engines belonged to luxury brands like Cadillac and Packard, wrapped in high prices and exclusivity. Henry Ford believed that was wrong. He believed power should be affordable. He believed speed should belong to everyone. And most importantly, he believed it could be done. The task of making Ford's impossible dream a reality fell to Charles Emile, Charlie Sorensen, Ford's chief production engineer, along with Eugene Farkas and a relentless team of designers and metallurgists. At the time, experts said mass-producing a V8 engine cheaply was impossible. Too complex. Too expensive. Too risky. Ford ignored them. Millions of dollars were poured into experimental casting techniques. Many failed catastrophically. Entire engine blocks cracked. Molten metal collapsed molds. Setbacks were constant. But persistence won. What emerged was nothing short of revolutionary. The Ford Flathead V8 was unlike anything the world had seen. Instead of complicated multi-piece construction, Ford cast the entire V8 engine block as a single piece of iron. It was a manufacturing miracle, one that stunned the industry. The engine used a side valve, or flathead, design, with valves located beside the cylinders instead of overhead. This allowed for lower production costs, a compact engine layout, simplified maintenance. It wasn't perfect, but it was brilliant. When the Flathead V8 debuted in 1932, it produced 65 horsepower from 221 cubic inches. Today, that sounds modest. In 1932, it was explosive. For the first time, an average American could walk into a dealership and buy a car with V8 power for only a small increase over a four-cylinder model. Ford didn't just sell cars. Ford sold possibility. As the years passed, the Flathead evolved. Power climbed to 85 horsepower by 1934. Larger displacements followed 239 and 255 cubic inches. Post-war versions pushed up to 100 horsepower. More importantly, the engine delivered strong, smooth, low-end torque, making it perfect for real-world driving and later, for racing. But the Flathead had a flaw. The same design that made the Flathead simple also made it temperamental. Its internal exhaust routing trapped heat inside the block. Under hard driving, temperatures soared. Cracked blocks and blown gaskets became common complaints, especially in racing applications. And yet, people loved it anyway. Because the Flathead wasn't just an engine. It was a challenge. The Ford Flathead V8 entered production in 1932 and refused to leave quietly. Used in Ford cars throughout the 1,000, 930 seconds, and 1,940 seconds. Powered early Ford trucks. Served extensively during World War II. Officially replaced in U.S. passenger cars by 1953. But the story didn't end there. In Europe, particularly France, the Flathead lived on, powering military vehicles into the 1,990 seconds. Few engines in history can claim such longevity. The Flathead V8 became the heart of some of the most legendary vehicles ever built. The 1,932 Ford Deuce Coupe, Ford Deluxe and Super Deluxe models, early Ford F-Series trucks, Mercury 8 sedans, modified Lincoln Zephyrs. These cars weren't just transportation, they were symbols of freedom, speed, and rebellion. Then came the war. When World War II ended, young veterans returned home with mechanical skills, ambition, and a hunger for speed. And they found the Flathead V8. cheap, abundant, easy to modify. Garages turned into laboratories. Engines were stripped, rebuilt, and pushed beyond their limits. Carburetors multiplied, compression ratios climbed, exhausts roared. Hot rodding was born. The Flathead V8 didn't just inspire builders, it created businesses. Performance pioneers like Edelbrock, Offenhauser, Iskandarian built entire companies around extracting more power from Ford's V8. By the early 1952s, technology had moved on. Overhead valve engines delivered more power, better efficiency, and improved cooling. Ford's own Y-block V8 replaced the Flathead in passenger cars. The Flathead was outdated, but it was never forgotten. Today, restored Flathead V8s aren't prized for horsepower numbers. They're prized for what they represent: innovation, accessibility, rebellion, and the birth of a culture that still thrives. The Ford Flathead V8 didn't just power cars, it powered America.